One Piece, 10 characters with a backstory more tragic than Zoro. Zoro has one of the most tragic backstories in the anime One Piece. However, he's not the only character with a tear-jerking past. Though at first glance the Wano arc might appear to have reached its endgames, keen fans know otherwise. So far, the arc has been flowing smoothly, a bit too smoothly if the past arcs were taken into the equation. Having said so, one of the fans' major concerns in Wano is Zoro's origins. It's generally speculated that Zoro's full backstory would be unveiled in its fullest during this arc. Many hints are suggesting so. Zoro, of course, isn't new to the One Piece fandom. It wouldn't be an overstatement if fans claimed that they knew him like the back of their hands. That's how well regarded Zoro is within the community. But with all said and done, Zoro's origins nevertheless remain a mystery. His known background was indeed sad, but not sad enough to stand out from the crowd. There are a good bunch of One Piece characters with a backstory sadder than his. 10. Rebecca. Rebecca is a controversial character with opinions ranging all over the spectrum concerning her. Some fans commend her actions and perseverance, while others think she is a bit lacking in an aspect or another. With that being said, regardless of everyone's mixed opinions, her tragic past remains an unshakable fact. For an entire decade, she had to fight and struggle, her life was always hanging by a thread. 9. Sabo. Time and time again, the nobility of the world of One Piece proved to us they were the scummiest of humans. Even pirates would look like angels from the heavens compared to some of these nobles. For better or worse, Sabo was born in a nobility household. However, unlike most nobles who spend their lives in their tiny bubbles, Sabo desired more, and his desire for more brought about his downfall. 8. Doflamingo. Though he might not be the strongest of the One Piece villains, Doflamingo certainly is the baddest of them all. Manipulation, murder, blackmail, etc., no crime is too extreme for this flamboyant villain. But with all said and done, Doflamingo's tragic past cannot be ignored either. He only transformed into this rage-fueled monster after weathering many events that no child should. 7. Frankie. From a very early age, Frankie's life was infested with misfortune. He, 4 years old, was disowned by his pirate parents and was left to die. Eventually, he managed to survive and met Tom and his workers. Only for tragedy to strike again. Due to the government's greed, he lost his father figure and a few parts of his body. For the next 2 decades, Frankie lived his life torn with guilt and sorrow. 6. Nami. Nami was the first member of the Straw Hat crew to have her full tragic past revealed. Not only was her adoptive mother murdered by her village's invaders, she had to work for said invaders for a decade to come. Nami spent all her teenage years collecting money left and right in order to free her village. Her nightmare only came to an end when Luffy and the gang intervened. 5. Koala. More often than not, the tragic backstories of One Piece were either directly or indirectly caused by nobles and world nobles. From an early age, Koala was enslaved in Mary Geos. More so, while she might have been freed by Fisher Tiger, her slave mentality persisted with her for years to follow. Koala is one of the few lucky slaves to retain their freedom. The vast majority of slaves, especially those in Mary Geos, live their lives and die as slaves. 4. The Boa Sisters. Similar to Koala, the Boa Sisters were slaves in Mary Geos during their youth. They managed to flee the Holy Land thanks to the massive outbreak caused by Fisher Tiger's escape. The slave life lived by the young Boa sisters was as traumatic as one could imagine. Even now, decades after their escape, their past still haunts them. It's unlikely that their scars would completely heal due to the slave trademarks left on their bodies. 3. Trafalgar Law. Law's backstory is absolutely one of the darkest in the series. His parents, sister, and all those who were dear to him lost their lives due to the world government's negligence. Naturally, due to these events, Law almost embraced the dark side. However, before taking his final steps towards the darkness, Rosinante showed up and rejuvenated both Law's life and his spirits. His self-sacrifice was the final nail that dispelled Law's dormant. 2. Robin. Once again, the world government was the main culprit to Robin's tragic past. She was the sole survivor of O'Hara, a country devastated by the world government in their efforts to censor the world. And as if that wasn't enough, the government proceeded to put a bounty on Robin's 7-year-old head. They truly went to extreme lengths in an attempt to wipe out the remnants of O'Hara. 1. Brooke. Last, but definitely not least, is Soul King Brooke. A member of the Straw Hat crew, as well as the character with the most tragic backstory in One Piece. Of course. Some might argue otherwise, but the vast majority of the fandom agrees on such. Brooke had to witness his entire crew, that was akin to a family, die a slow and painful death. But that's not it. He further spent 50 more years in absolute isolation. His only partners were grief and guilt.